All right, so let's talk about the second macro institution. So we just talked about, and you've read about the institution of citizenship and how it's evolved over a couple hundred-year period to encourage more self-interested um, um, participation and less civic duty-oriented participation. So let's talk about the political economy. So a political economy is an remember what an institution is: the informal and formal norms, rules, and procedures um, that embedded in the organizational structure of society. So these are important ways in which we behave in a society. And in this context, we're going to talk about the behavior, our economic behavior, right? So, and socialization is the way we learn about those informal and formal norms, rules, and procedures. So political economy is really powerful. A political economy, a nation's political economy, shapes the way people behave. It shapes the way people view their responsibilities in society. It shapes how they view themselves. It shapes their motivations about what they do. And the founders knew this. I mean, the founders understood this. Let me just give you an idea about how we understand how important our political economy is. There is a political philosopher named Adam Smith that we've all heard of. And Adam Smith argued and wrote about how if a political economy was organized around competition in free markets, it would be good for society because it would keep prices low and it would make a variety of goods and products available to people, and it would encourage creative thinking, and it would encourage people to do things that would be beneficial to them, that would allow them to express their creative capacities, but also make wealth through that process. And that if people were able to do this and were able to be successful at it, that ultimately society at large was going to be successful because you would have a lot of people freed to pursue their creative capacities, and if they were successful, then they would be happy about that, and they would make wealth in doing that. Right? So that kind of political economy encourages individual oriented motivations and behaviors. Right? So Adam Smith knew that. In fact, Adam Smith wrote the book that he's most famous for, The Wealth of Nations, and it was published coincidentally in 1776, the same year as the American Revolution. Now, there was another political economist that came along some years later named Karl Marx. And Karl Marx argued that if a nation's political economy was organized around the collective means of production, the collective ownership of the means of production, that it would in fact lead to a benefit for everyone equally in society, that everyone would have the basic things that they needed, and if everybody had the basic things they needed, that they would be happy, that they wouldn't spend their time wanting things that they couldn't have, and they wouldn't suffer, and so on and so forth. So contrast Adam Smith's political economy with Karl Marx's political economy. There's some important differences between the two political economies, but one of the important differences, the one I want you to focus on, is that one would encourage individual behavior in a self-interested way, and the other one would encourage individual behavior in a collective way. Right? So just to make the point that we've for a long time understood that political economy shapes our behavior and our motivations. So the founders knew this, right? So some of the founders, such as Thomas Jefferson and others, thought that we should have a political economy that was organized around an agrarian lifestyle. That an agrarian lifestyle, the lifestyle of a farmer, yeoman farmer, would encourage public virtue. That is, would encourage concern for the community, encourage concern for the neighbor, encourage you to care about the good of the whole, encourage good individual virtues, hard labor, sweat that was rooted in the land. These were all good things, right? And they would encourage a good, healthy value system within a society, that we would all care about one another. Others, Alexander Hamilton and others, argued that we should actually build an economy around a manufacturing base, that we should encourage people to pursue private wealth, to pursue their economic and passions and private passions, that this would encourage a private virtue that and it would encourage the development of an economic system where people could pursue their passions and make wealth, and that in a funny way, Hamilton was making an argument a lot like Adam Smith, that if a lot of people were able to pursue their passions and make money, that they would be proud of themselves, proud of what they did, and that people could be proud of them, and they would be proud of their country, and it would actually lift our country and make it strong because people were proud of it. So Jefferson saw a political economy where our country was more communitarian, and we were like a close-knit family because of that, and we would care about one another in a communitarian way. Hamilton saw a strong country as a collection of individuals who pursued wealth and managed to gain that wealth, and that we were collectively proud of ourselves because of that. I'll come back in just a minute.